At the wedding, Sophia looked even more stunningly beautiful in her wedding dress. Just as the marriage ceremony was about to begin, her childhood friend suddenly rushed up onto the stage. He grabbed my collar with one hand, his gaze provocative. "Ethan Johnson, although Sophia is marrying you today, the person she has always loved is me. What good is it for you to have her? You'll never be able to win her heart." At these words, the whole hall went into an uproar. Yet no one went on stage to intervene. "Ethan Johnson, Sophia?" I scanned the room. In that moment, I finally confirmed that I had transmigrated into a book. In the original novel, Ethan Johnson was only a male supporting character. The Taylor family is an old established household in Los Angeles. But due to a failed restructuring, the Taylor family's decline became fully apparent. They were forced to choose the route of a family-arranged marriage. After an exhaustive selection, the Taylor family ultimately decided to arrange a match with Ethan Johnson of the Los Angeles Johnson family. Aside from the Johnsons' ample financial resources, one more thing. Ethan Johnson's parents both died last year in a plane crash. Ethan Johnson, still young, inherited a $30 billion fortune. Rumor has it Ethan Johnson has a soft temperament and is easy to manipulate. Ethan Johnson was utterly enchanted the moment he saw Sophia Taylor. Love at first sight. Immediately agreed to the marriage alliance between the two families. But on the wedding night, Sophia abandoned her drunken husband and secretly snuck out to sleep with her childhood playmate Jake Wilson. In the end, she even became pregnant with Jake Wilson's child. Ethan Johnson had been kept in the dark, believing the child was his. After the baby was born, he followed Sophia's advice and devoted himself to raising the child at home. Thus, the real power of the Johnson Group fell into Sophia's hands. After Sophia completely seized power, Ethan Johnson, however, was involved in a brutal car crash and died on the spot. Sophia and Xiao Yizhong successfully inherited the Johnson family's $30 billion assets. Thus, the Johnson family's enterprises all fell into the pockets of the Taylor family. Although the book doesn't explicitly reveal the truth behind Ethan Johnson's car accident, it subtly indicates that it was the work of the Taylor family. So this commercial marriage was a trap set by the Taylors. Since the Taylors are so ravenous, then let's see who can outplay whom. I pulled my thoughts back and looked at Jake Wilson's smug face before me. A slight smile tugged at the corner of my mouth. No wonder no one stepped up to stop us. The Taylor family had Jake Wilson bring me on stage to humiliate me publicly. It was nothing more than a test of me, to see whether I was as weak as the rumors said. If I showed fear, then I'd truly become a pushover. Won't it still be up to the Taylor family to toy with me later? The guests here today are all prominent figures in Los Angeles. Right now, quite a few people are waiting to see me make a fool of myself. Jake Wilson saw me zoning out, then repeated what he had just said loudly again. I looked at him mockingly and punched him squarely in the face. I kicked him hard and sent him flying. Jake Wilson rolled off the stage and hit the ground with a thud. He bowed like a shrimp, continuously screaming in pain. The entire hall fell into a deathly silence. The amused smiles on the guests' faces froze at the corners of their mouths as they widened their eyes. No one had expected that I, rumored to have a soft temper, would actually make a move at the wedding. Sophia was the first to react. She swung a slap at me, but I held on tight. "Ethan Johnson, let go of me. Are you done making a scene? Jake is young and immature. Is it necessary for you to hit him over a couple of jokes? Kneel down and apologize to me right now, or don't expect me to forgive you easily." I narrowed my eyes slightly and looked at her with a cold sneer. "Apologize to your mother." I slapped her across the face, sending her crashing to the ground. I turned my head to look at the head of the Taylor family in the audience. "Is this the upbringing of your Taylor family in Los Angeles? Letting your little lover go on stage at the wedding to ruin my event? As my future father-in-law, don't you think you owe me an explanation?" The Taylors watched as the pampered daughter was beaten. It was obvious they were being publicly humiliated. Their family's face ground into the dirt. One by one, they clamored to go on stage and deal with me. But the head of the Taylor family forcibly stopped them. Sophia, also coming out of shock, suddenly screamed. She is the Taylor family's cherished one. How could she have ever suffered such humiliation? "Dad, he hit me. Get him taken care of quickly. I want him dead." The Taylor patriarch's facial muscles twitched uncontrollably. He was clearly furious to the extreme, but he forced it down. "Ethan Johnson, Sophia, is the beloved daughter of our Taylor family, and Jake Wilson is a child I raised. Are you not putting the Taylor family in your sights by picking on them in front of so many people today? I tugged at the collar that Jake Wilson had wrinkled. Not putting you in my sights, so what? I looked at him with derision. Mr. Taylor, you must have forgotten today is my wedding, Ethan Johnson's. You Taylors condone this adulterer ruining my event. The fact that I didn't break his 3 legs on the spot is already me giving your family enough face. I nonchalantly took off the suit and handed it to the bodyguard behind me. Mr. Taylor, I'm putting this on the table today. If your family doesn't give me an explanation within an hour, the marriage alliance between the Johnsons and Taylors is canceled. After saying that, I couldn't be bothered to look at the Taylors' faces. With a group of bodyguards, I swaggered into the backstage lounge. Did they really think I was that pushover the original was? Now that the Taylor family mansion is collapsing, they urgently need my money to bail them out. I'm not anxious. The Taylor family will be the only ones worrying. When Assistant Quinn came in, I was sitting with my legs crossed, drinking champagne. Mr. Johnson, the Taylor household has already turned into a complete mess in the main hall. I snorted. They brought this on themselves. We were just trying to have a proper wedding, and they had to make such a scene. I swayed the wine glass in my hand. The Taylors are just low-born. The nicer you are to them, the more they'll take advantage of you. Assistant Quinn gave me a somewhat astonished look. It seems they also find me somewhat different from before. In fact, this world is just like that. The weaker you are, the more people bully you. If you're strong, they actually become afraid. Sure enough, no sooner had the words left my mouth than the head of the Taylor family called, his tone much softer. Ethan, today's matter is just a misunderstanding. I've already reprimanded them. Do me a favor and don't keep the guests waiting too long. I checked my watch and sneered, Mr. Taylor, you've got half an hour. Bring Jake Wilson over to Neil and apologize, and we'll let today's incident go. Otherwise, when the time's up, I'll be gone. I suggest you deal with it yourselves. Oh, and by the way, the new line of business the Taylor family is moving into overlaps heavily with my Johnson group. Tell me, if I were to deliberately squeeze you a bit, could the Taylor group withstand it? Of course, that last sentence was an outright, brazen threat. I didn't wait for a reply from the other side and hung up immediately. 5 minutes later, the head of the Taylor household personally escorted Jake Wilson in. Jake Wilson's face was deathly pale. He hung his head, not daring to look at me. He probably hadn't expected that, relying only on Sophia's favoritism to say a few provocative things at the wedding. In the end, he actually wanted to bow his head to me, this soft target. He thudded down and knelt before me. Mr. Johnson, I harbored feelings I shouldn't have. It was my childishness. I shouldn't have talked nonsense at your wedding. I am sorry. I lightly pat his face. That's more like it. From now on, stay out of my sight and stop always trying to be noticed, or you'll be in for it. He clenches his fists hard, his knuckles paling. I understand, Mr. Johnson. After saying that I couldn't be bothered with him anymore, I rose gracefully and continued with the wedding. Everyone present today was a Los Angeles socialite, so I couldn't leave them waiting too long. The rest of the wedding proceeded particularly smoothly. The Taylor family didn't cause any more trouble. After the wedding, my exploits at the wedding quickly spread through Los Angeles' business circles. After all, there aren't many chances to make an old established wealthy family like the Taylors lose face. Anyone with eyes could see the Taylors wanted to teach me a lesson. Who would have thought they'd make me lose face in public? On the wedding night, after taking a shower, Sophia had already bathed and was sitting on the bed. I have to admit, this woman was indeed beautiful. Her skin was as delicate as if a light puff could burst it. Her figure was sultry and intoxicating. Her features were exquisite, with a slender, graceful waist and smooth, shapely legs. One glance made it hard to look away. Unfortunately, the coolness between her brows ruined the overall appeal. Ethan Johnson, I'm telling you, this is just an arranged marriage between our families. There are no feelings. Get out of here now. When we actually have feelings for each other, then we can sleep together. This is what they mean by saying one thing and doing another. This is it. I pretended I was about to leave. All right. Only when we actually have feelings for each other will the Johnson family's investment come through. My hand was just about to touch the bedroom doorknob. Sophia's voice suddenly rose sharply from behind. Ethan Johnson, you shameless man. I slowly turned and walked to the bedside, looking down at her from above. Oh, really? There are even more shameless things. Will you take your clothes off yourself? Or should I take them off for you? She took a deep breath and tightly closed her eyes. With trembling hands, she slowly unfastened her nightgown. Open your eyes. Look at me. She bit her luscious, glistening lips, then suddenly widened her eyes. His eyes were full of fury. I admired the way Sophia refused to yield. I tugged at the corner of my mouth with satisfaction. At the exact moment the nightgown slipped, I almost stopped breathing. This woman really is a total nightmare. She almost made my nose bleed, just as I was about to pounce. Her phone, however, abruptly rang. She saw the caller ID showing the name, Jake Wilson, and instantly panicked. She hurriedly answered the phone. What? You twisted your ankle. Don't move now. Wait where you are. I'll be right there. Sophia hung up the phone, grabbed her robe, and threw it on. She didn't look at me once, barefoot and about to rush out the door. I spoke calmly. Sophia Taylor, if you dare step out that door tonight, I'll have your father break Jake Wilson's legs. Do you believe me? Sophia froze abruptly. She seemed to have remembered how I forced Jake Wilson to kneel today. If she really dares to step out this door and ruin the marriage alliance between the two families, her father won't do anything to her. But Jake Wilson will never have a good outcome. Her whole body trembled, the knuckles of the hand gripping the doorknob creaking. You! She turned around and looked at me with venom. Ethan Johnson, you can't do this. Jake is innocent. Innocent? I walked slowly up to her. My gaze swept over that patch of snow white beneath her robe. Crashing my wedding and then turning around to use such a clumsy excuse to call you out on the wedding night. Do you think he's innocent? Her eyes instantly reddened. It's me who wanted to see him. It has nothing to do with Jake. If you got the guts, take it out on me. Jake really sprained his ankle. He would never lie to me. I reached out and firmly pinched her chin, forcing her to tilt her head up and look at me. If he sprained his ankle, why would he call you? Are you a doctor or a nurse? Sophia was taken aback for a moment. She looked away guiltily. Ignoring her struggles, I scooped up her soft, delicate body in one embrace. Behave and be Mrs. Johnson, or do you really want to watch Jake Wilson never get back up for the rest of his life? I threw her back onto the bed and ripped her nightgown off in one go, staring at the exquisite work of art on the bed. My mind was filled with images of slaughter. The battle was fierce. It didn't really stop until dawn. What surprised me was, Sophia was actually a virgin for the first time. Last night, I almost let that bastard Jake Wilson get lucky. The next day, I was having breakfast downstairs. Sophia stomped down the stairs, fuming. She took a deep breath and stared at me with wide eyes. Ethan Johnson, when will the $2 billion investment you promised to Taylor Group be transferred? I finished the last gulp of milk and looked at her mockingly. Sophia Taylor, are you stupid? Sophia exploded with anger, eyes wide as she stared at me. Ethan Johnson, what do you mean? Do you think once you pull up your pants you can shirk your responsibilities? I'll tell you, nobody in Los Angeles dares toy with the Taylor family like this. I leisurely wiped my mouth. Although the woman was pretty, she was just a vase, no brains at all. Sophia Taylor, you tell me, you're nothing more than the Taylor family's adopted daughter. What makes you think you could be the family's cherished one? Her pupils contracted sharply, and her breathing stopped for 3 seconds. Yo, how did you know I'm the adopted daughter? I didn't respond to her question and continued speaking. Although Taylor's genuine daughter wasn't favored, she started an entry-level internship at the Taylor Group right after graduating from college. She's now even taken the position of project department manager. And you? Do you understand Taylor Group's business, personnel structure, or development direction? Every time I asked a question, her face grew a shade paler. No matter how foolish she was, she heard a different meaning. There are only you two daughters in the Taylor family. Who do you think will be the heir of the Taylors? She stood up, staggering back half a step. With a bang, the chair was knocked over, sounding unusually harsh in the quiet morning. Ew, what nonsense are you talking about? Her voice couldn't stop trembling, but she still forced herself to sound composed. I was raised by my parents since I was little. Who in all of Los Angeles doesn't know they dote on me the most? Ethan Johnson, don't you dare sow discord here. Although I haven't spent much time with Sophia, but I can tell at a glance that this woman is nothing more than a pretty face. There's a rather intriguing passage in the original book. After the original protagonist died in a car accident, the Johnson family's assets all ended up in the Taylor family's pockets, instead of ending up in Sophia's pockets. Well, that's interesting. The Taylors chose me for a marriage alliance and arranged for Jake Wilson to cause a scene at the wedding to test my reaction, including the car accident that caused the original owner's unexpected death, and the subsequent cleanup work, like seizing the Johnson family's assets for themselves. This whole string of events was a trap set in advance. Sophia is totally lovesick. Obviously, he couldn't think that far. And the head of the Taylor household had a rigid mindset. He wouldn't have so many convoluted thoughts. Otherwise, the Taylor family wouldn't have failed because of a botched transition. And now she's ended up in such a precarious situation, with the whole house about to collapse. So the person behind all this is very likely the true Taylor daughter, Claire Taylor. I lifted my eyes and looked at her with pity. Sophia Taylor, whether I've been sowing discord or not, I'll ask you one more question and then you'll know. The Taylor family has 2 daughters. Why do they arrange a marriage between you and me and not Claire Taylor? Sophia's delicate body trembled. She opened her mouth, but couldn't get a single word out for a long time. I don't know. My parents said that my sister has too strong a temper and isn't fit to be the young mistress of the Johnson family. They also said I was raised by them since childhood, well-educated and well-mannered. Well-educated and well-mannered. I snorted softly, helping the little lover provoke her husband at the wedding, finding an excuse to meet him privately on the wedding night. Sophia Taylor, do you have some misunderstanding about being well-read and well-mannered? She suddenly looked up, her embarrassment turning into anger. So what if that's true? Mom and Dad love me the most. Marrying you and becoming Mrs. Johnson is such a good thing. Of course they thought of me first. They also said Sister Claire is too scheming and totally unsuitable for a political marriage. My expression remained calm as I spoke lightly. Sophia Taylor, have you ever thought about what the Taylor family needs most right now? An heir who can help stabilize the group situation, or just a vase that's meant to be looked at? Do you know why you, as a foster daughter, could become the Taylor family's darling? Because from the very beginning, you were placed in the spotlight as a tool for marriage alliances. So, Claire Taylor hides behind the scenes. She can't be part of a marriage alliance. She only takes sons-in-law. Sophia felt as if she'd been struck by lightning. The color drained completely from her face in an instant. My words utterly overturned her understanding. I pulled the bewildered Sophia into my arms, gently playing with her long hair. Sophia Taylor, you're my wife now. As long as you do as I say, you won't just be the envied Mrs. Johnson. I paused, my tone growing even more tender. And I can also make you the true heir of the Taylor group. Sophia's delicate body shuddered. She tilted her head back, faint tears clinging to her eyelashes. In the speckled morning light, there was an inexplicable sense of brokenness. Can you really make me the heir of the Taylor family? She grabbed my arm with a hand so hard it hurt. Why are you helping me? I lifted my hand and wiped the tear from her eyelashes, my tone resolute. Fool, we're married now, a community of interests. If I don't help you, who will? Besides, the energy and resources of my Johnson family are far stronger than you imagine. If Claire Taylor can bring in $100 million in investment, I can put in $1 billion. Sophia stared at me in a daze. She finally realized that the man in fro. He was Ethan Johnson, holding $30 billion in assets and powerful enough to shake the Taylor Group structure. My goal has been achieved, so I patted her pert behind. You can call your father right now. As long as he promotes you to an executive position at Taylor Group, the $2 billion I invested will be under your sole decision-making authority. Every disbursement of funds and every business move must be approved by you. As long as your father agrees, the funds can be transferred today. Go! Sophia's face flushed all over with excitement, and her eyes betrayed her delight. She wrapped her arms around my neck and planted a forceful kiss on my cheek. Husband, you're the best. After speaking, she happily went to the study to make a phone call. I watched her back, a sneer curling at the corner of my mouth. Truly just a pretty face. If she can be used by the Taylor family, she can certainly be used by me. As expected, Robert Taylor, the head of the Taylor family, had no choice but to agree to my decision. Sophia was overjoyed. She hugged me and said she would only ever love me in this lifetime. I didn't waste words either. I immediately intended to take Sophia to the company to sign the contract, to step out of the Johnson family compound. I happened to see Jake Wilson, his eyes rimmed red, crouched in the corner of the wall. It had rained all night last night. He was soaking wet, his hair plastered damply to his scalp. Dark circles were heavy, looking extremely disheveled. He watched Sophia's awkward way of walking, and his face instantly went pale. Tears slid down silently. This kid is such a lovesick fool. After I warned him, he still dared to come closer, but I'm not in a hurry to deal with him either. He's just perfect for testing Sophia's loyalty. He looked at Sophia with a face full of sorrow. Sophia, I called you all night last night. Why didn't you pick up? Sophia felt uncomfortable under his gaze. She instinctively stepped back behind me. She had been through quite a rough time last night. Now, with Jake Wilson staring at her like this, she seemed a bit guilty and dared not look him in the eye. My phone died last night. Jake, I'm already Ethan Johnson's wife. Don't come looking for me again. I'm afraid my husband will misunderstand. At those words, Jake Wilson's face went deathly pale. Her body wavered, almost falling. Wife, just because he can invest in the Taylor family? Sophia, have you forgotten the promise you made to me? You said that even if the Taylor family forced you into an arranged marriage, you would always have only me in your heart. Sophia affectionately linked her arm through mine. It was tantamount to declaring she had completely taken Jake Wilson's side. Jake Wilson, those were just childish words, said on a whim. How can you take them seriously? I smoothly slipped my arm around Sophia's slender waist. I deliberately guided her closer into my arms. I looked at Jake Wilson provocatively. Is the ankle you twisted yesterday better? Looks like you're recovering well. Enough to come run interference at my doorstep? Didn't hear any noises last night, did you? If you did, I'd be the one in big trouble. Sophia blushed and gave my waist a hard pinch. Our intimate gesture completely broke Jake Wilson down. He was about to rush forward, but was firmly held back by the bodyguard behind me. No. Sophia, it must have been Ethan Johnson forcing you, right? You said you only loved me. How can you go back on your word? Jake Wilson was held down by the bodyguards, his knees smashing into the bluestone slab, blood gushing. Teach him a good lesson, but don't kill him. I ordered the bodyguards. Ignoring the screams coming from behind, he strode off hugging Sophia. After that, the cooperation with the Taylor family proceeded unusually smoothly. Sophia successfully entered the senior management of the Taylor Group, and I invested $2 billion for a 15% stake in the Taylor Group and successfully joined the board. I did not disappoint Sophia. Claire Taylor brought in $100 million in investment for the group, so I brought Sophia $1 billion. In just 3 months, under the assistance and leadership of my Johnson Group, the Taylor Group's performance soared. The shareholders on the board are not fools either. Everyone knows there's money to be made by following me, Ethan Johnson. Originally, many uncles, older male relatives, and investors who supported Claire Taylor as the heir began to turn and support Sophia. To prevent Claire Taylor from acting rashly, I take at least 8 bodyguards with me every time I go out. Only travel in the middle vehicle with bodyguards driving front and back as escort. Even everyday meals are personally overseen by the old butler. I certainly don't want to end up capsized in the gutter. Sophia, whether tasting and liking it or growing ever more admiring of me, I couldn't tell. These days, this earthly beauty of hers has been especially diligent in bed. She serves me so obediently. Usually I give a look, and she already knows what to do. Tonight is the head of the Taylor household's birthday. Almost all of Los Angeles's social elites were there. I arrived at the Taylor family villa with Sophia. We immediately drew the attention of everyone present, only because Sophia was simply too stunning now. Unlike her previously youthful, unpolished look, Sophia now appeared more radiant and captivating. Stunning. I took Sophia and greeted the business partners I knew one by one. Although Sophia was just a pretty face, she was a competent one. She handled this kind of occasion very appropriately, appearing completely at ease. Robert Taylor gave a short speech at the birthday banquet. It was nothing more than thanking everyone for coming, a customary remark about how their presence brightened the event. He stood in the very center of the hall. A sickly flush colored his face. Claire Taylor linked arms with Robert Taylor and stood nearby, looking gentle and pleasant. However, her looks were slightly inferior to Sophia's. Claire Taylor noticed my gaze. He gave me an intriguing smile. In the book, Robert Taylor had terminal liver cancer and didn't live long before he died. The power in the Taylor family ultimately fell into Claire Taylor's hands. Just then, my assistant hurried over to my ear, looking very anxious. Mr. Johnson, I just saw Jake Wilson put something in a madam's drink. I wanted to stop him, but it was already too late. I curled my lip in a cold sneer, so he did make a move. Originally, Sophia had been right by my side. It was Claire Taylor who said she'd stay and say a few words to her sister, then took her away. I didn't expect something to happen so soon. Mr. Johnson, I recorded that scene just now. Madam is over there. It doesn't look right. I followed the direction he was pointing and saw Jake Wilson supporting Sophia as they walked toward the backyard. My face darkened, and I seized a bottle of wine, quickly following them. Just as they were about to leave the banquet hall, I swung the bottle and smashed it hard against Jake Wilson's head. With a thud, the loud crash of the broken wine bottle exploded through the hall. Scarlet wine mixed with shards of glass and blood, splattering everywhere. A few drops of red wine splashed onto Sophia's bare shoulder and neck. She shuddered violently all over. The dazed look in his eyes suddenly cleared a bit. Jake Wilson screamed and fell to the ground, clutching his blood-soaked head and howling incessantly. The entire scene was stunned. Everyone turned to look this way. I ignored Jake Wilson rolling and wailing on the ground. I reached out and pulled Sophia, who was about to collapse, into my arms. Her whole body was burning hot, her eyes glazed. Her small hand clutched my arm tightly as she mumbled indistinctly, "So hot." I signaled to my assistant, and the moment when Jake Wilson drugged him was projected onto the lobby screen. Those present let out exclamations one after another when they saw the video, especially the noble women and young ladies. Looking at Jake Wilson writhing on the floor, their expressions were full of disgust. I glanced at Claire Taylor, whose face a dark shade of green not far away. He bellowed sharply, "Claire Taylor, you were the one who took my wife away from me just now, and now something like this has happened at your Taylor family's old estate? You and your Taylor family owe me an explanation. Otherwise I, Ethan Johnson, will make sure we settle this to the death." After speaking, I ignored the ugly looks from Taylor's family and strode off carrying Sophia. The medicine was indeed potent. It had me tossed about all night. It almost left me unable to get out of bed. I woke up the next day. I was unusually sore in the waist and back, my legs weak. I had just finished breakfast when my assistant called. "Mr. Johnson, after you left last night, the Taylor household turned into an utter mess. Robert Taylor was so furious he fainted and is currently receiving emergency treatment. The doctors say there's no immediate danger to his life." Breaking Jake Wilson's legs was an order personally given by Robert Taylor before he fell into a coma. The bodyguard we bribed secretly filmed a video and sent it over. Trying to calm my anger. Handling just Jake Wilson isn't nearly enough. Assistant Quinn, proceed as planned. Starting today, carry out a large-scale sell-off of the Taylor family shares. And make it known, Johnson Group will terminate all cooperation with the Taylor family and withdraw our investments. As expected, Taylor Group's stock hit the daily limit down that same day. Following the announcement from Johnson Group, the entire Taylor Group was plunged into utter panic. Over the past 3 months, the Taylor Group has finally shown some improvement. If my Johnson Group really dealt a severe blow to the enemy while hurting itself, forcibly canceling the cooperation and withdrawing all investments, the Taylor Group could very well face irreversible ruin. After all, although the Taylor Group successfully transformed over these 3 months, but over 70% of the business depends on my Johnson Group. Taylor Group and Johnson Group are already deeply intertwined. For now, they still don't have the ability to go head-to-head with me, but I won't do that unless absolutely necessary. After all, the two companies' cooperation had already gone deep. Such a reckless strategy would also cause huge losses for my Johnson Group. Sure enough, in the afternoon, Sophia was the first to push open the door to my office. She looked at me displeased, pouting as she spoke. "Honey, why are you suddenly canceling our cooperation with the Taylor Group? I know you're standing up for me, but if the Taylor Group really collapses, what's the point of me inheriting it?" I pulled her toward me and asked tentatively, "Was Claire Taylor the one who egged you on to come find me?" Sophia looked at me in astonishment and blurted it out without thinking. "Honey, how did you know?" This Sophia really has no brains. Last night, I was almost sold out by Claire Taylor. You actually listened to her foolishness today? Sure enough, no matter how beautiful a decorative vase is, it still can't escape being used as a pawn. I didn't answer Sophia. Instead, I patiently explained. "Sophia, I'm doing this all for your own good. Think about it. Yesterday, you were nearly bullied. Today, I drove down Taylor Group's stock price and threatened to cancel our cooperation. Isn't that reasonable?" Sophia blinked, looking at me drowsily. "It's reasonable, but you can't actually ruin Taylor Group." I pinched her rosy cheek and, patient, coaxed her gently. "Stupid girl, if I really wanted to ruin your Taylor Group, why would I wait until today? Do you think that $2 billion investment was given away for nothing, and that I would still make so many cooperative deals with your Taylor family? I paused for a moment, then continued. Your father is gravely ill. He has likely already made a will, leaving all the shares to Claire Taylor. So we can't wait any longer. Sophia's pupils contracted sharply, and the hands clutching my sleeve tightened suddenly. She panicked at once. Oh, husband, what should we do? I gently stroked her back and comforted her softly. Don't worry. I'm here. There's no way I'll let you lose to Claire Taylor. The Taylor family slapped my Ethan Johnson in the face last night. They owe me an explanation to calm my fury. All of Los Angeles' elite know what happened last night. Even if I go after the Taylor Group now, no one would say a word against me. If I told you to have your father transfer all his shares to you, or to watch the Taylor Group go bankrupt, which would he choose? Sophia suddenly widened her eyes, her breathing instantly chaotic. She hugged me tightly, as if she wanted to melt her whole body into mine. Husband, you treat me so well. She grabbed my face and kissed me fiercely. Husband, I love you. I'll only love you for the rest of my life. Taylor Group's stock hit the daily limit down 3 days in a row. Johnson Group's legal department is negotiating with Taylor Group about withdrawing investment and canceling cooperation. Robert Taylor finally couldn't sit still. He called overnight, urging me to come to the hospital. I hurried to the hospital with Sophia and a group of bodyguards. When Sophia and I walked into the VIP ward, Robert Taylor was leaning against the head of the bed, his face waxen. An oxygen tube was inserted into his nostrils. Robert Taylor's clouded eyes stared at us, dim and unclear. His voice was a bit hoarse. Ethan, Sophia, you're here, sit. Sophia walked to the bedside and tightly grasped Robert Taylor's hand. Dad, how are you feeling? I won't die. Robert Taylor coughed twice, his gaze suddenly sharpening and staring straight at me. The Taylor Group stock has hit the daily limit down for 3 days straight, and the withdrawal notice has arrived. Ethan, do you really want to wipe out the Taylors? I've already taken care of Jake Wilson. What else do you want? Since we'd already torn off the mask, I was too lazy to pretend and said it bluntly. The Taylor family made Ethan Johnson lose face so badly in public, and I just want an explanation. Either you watch the Taylor Group collapse, or transfer all the shares in your hands to Sophia. Your decision. He gripped the bedsheet tightly, his knuckles white, and spoke each word slowly. You threatening me? I looked at him mockingly, my tone still calm. Whatever. If you think that's a threat, then consider it a threat. You. Robert Taylor's forehead pulsed with veins and anger. He immediately began coughing violently. An old face flushed in an instant to the color of a pig's liver. Sophia hurriedly patted his back to help him catch his breath. Dad, you raised me since I was little. I'm your child too. What exactly is wrong with me compared to sister? Why can't I inherit the company? Robert Taylor coughed until he could hardly breathe, unable to utter a word for a long time. My patience was gradually wearing thin. I threw the documents in my hand down in front of him. Robert Taylor, take a good look at these files. These are all evidence of your tax evasion and business fraud. Oh, and there's this video too. I opened the video on my phone. It was exactly the clandestine footage of Jake Wilson that he had ordered to be stopped. What do you think would happen to you if I posted this evidence online or handed it to the police? What kind of storm would the Taylor family face then? The Taylor Group is an established company. After operating for so many years, how could it possibly have no stains at all? Of course, I couldn't possibly obtain such classified evidence, unless there was an inside man, and that inside man could be as far away as the horizon or right in front of me. Robert Taylor had clearly thought of that too. He slapped Sophia across the face and cursed her loudly. Wretched girl, you actually colluded with an outsider to scheme against your father? Sophia was stunned by the blow and kept sobbing softly. Robert Taylor was furious, his impotence-driven rage lasting for a while. In the end, he still had to sign the equity transfer agreement. He simply had no choice. Otherwise, the entire Taylor family would be ruined. 10 minutes later, Sophia and I walked out of the hospital holding the equity transfer agreement. She threw herself into my arms, her tears soaking my chest. Husband, this time I've broken Dad's heart badly. I only have you left. I stroked her back and whispered softly into her ear. Don't worry, you still have me. I will always be your strongest support. Sophia Taylor. Husband, you're the best. For the time being, I stopped selling off shares of the Taylor Group. Cooperation between Johnson and Taylor continued. Everything seemed to be back on track. A week later, it happened to be the 15th. The original owner's parents died in a plane crash on the 15th. So every month at this time, the original owner would go to the cemetery to pay respects. After I transmigrated here, I continued that habit. Every time I would take Sophia with me. Of course, bodyguards were indispensable. Today, just before leaving, I changed my mind at the last minute and left Sophia alone in the car, and took her phone with him. Sophia, you go ahead. I'll grab a file and be right there. Sophia didn't think much of it either. Hubby, then hurry up. I nodded and considerately closed the car door for her. A little over an hour later, I received a call from the police. Mr. Johnson, your wife was involved in a horrific car accident and died at the scene. Please come to the station to identify the body. I acted very sorrowful, my voice trembling. No. My wife wouldn't do something like this. You must be mistaken. Who was it in the end? Did they catch the driver who caused the accident? Mr. Johnson, please accept our condolences. We have verified the deceased's identity repeatedly. There is no mistake. The driver was stopped by concerned citizens and has now been arrested and is under investigation. I hung up the police call, and the assistance call came through. Mr. Johnson, the matter has been taken care of. The corner of my mouth slowly lifted. This helpful citizen was, of course, someone Assistant Quinn had arranged. How could I possibly let the hit-and-run driver get away? He's a key figure. Actually, I had already installed spyware on Sophia's phone. I still remember the call Sophia made 3 days ago. Sis, didn't you say that if Ethan Johnson dies, all his assets will be mine? When are you finally going to make a move? I used to go out with at least 3 cars. This time, only my personal car was on the road. Claire Taylor would never let such a good opportunity slip away. During that time, she called Sophia 3 times in a row to confirm. Unfortunately, I had already taken the phone. When the driver learned that the deceased was the second miss of the Taylor family, he was stunned. His wife was gravely ill and needed a large sum for medical fees. Now that they knew they had targeted the wrong person, how could the Taylor family's eldest daughter still go and save his wife? She confessed everything that same day. Before long, Claire Taylor was arrested and charged with hiring a hitman to commit murder. Robert Taylor learned that one daughter had been arrested and another had been killed in a hit-and-run, vomited a mouthful of blood on the spot, and fell into a coma. Claire Taylor died before the verdict could be pronounced. I went on the day of the sentencing. When Claire Taylor saw me, she completely lost her mind. That crazed look, he might as well want to eat me. Ethan Johnson, it's you. It's all because of you. You schemed to take everything from my Taylor family. I hope you die a terrible death. You'll go to hell. Oh, really? Only the Taylor family will go to hell. Claire Taylor was ultimately sentenced to life imprisonment. After Sophia died, I became the primary heir. All her shares were transferred into my name. Right now, I'm managing 2 corporations by myself, so I'm indeed pretty busy. I hurriedly had my assistant hire a few more pretty and capable female secretaries for me to share the workload. This life is just so damn comfortable.